Hey Nesters, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing some thrift shopping at Goodwill. So let's go ahead and see what they had today. The first thing I saw was this beautiful landscape painting. I just love the vibrant colors to it. I did end up picking that up. I'm not sure if I'm going to resell it as is or if I may want to hang on to it. If I can find a frame or something, I might. So they had this really adorable sign here about his pawpaw. I think that is such a cute name for a grandfather. It's really interesting to hear all the different names that people had called their grandparents. Let me know down in the comments what you guys called your grandparents. One of the cutest ones I think I've heard is Lolly and Pop. I thought that was really adorable when I came across that. So I spied this very beautiful milk glass bowl. I love that it had a floral design to it. The whole piece was just this giant flower petal, but I put it back because it is milk glass and it doesn't really sell that well for me. It's not something I collect. This was actually ceramic, which I tend to like a little bit more than the milk glass, and it had beautiful florals all the way around it. I just really love this piece and I ended up picking that up. It just screams 1960s, 1970s to me with the flower power, but it's in a neutral, so it's kind of nice. Down here they had this very beautiful pottery piece. It is signed, and obviously it looks like snake skin. Anyone that's really into that kind of animal print decor I thought would really enjoy this to toss some jewelry in. It's just a nice little trinket dish. They had these really gorgeous kissing angel figures up here. They were decent size. Unfortunately, the boy angel did have a few chips on him, but I thought it was a really great set. It was almost iridescent. It was just super shiny, but it definitely had that kind of vibe of iridescent. They had this vintage month bell. It had January on it. I was kind of surprised when I saw the green and the flowers to see January on it. You would have thought it would have been more March, April at least, but yeah, it had some broken flower petals on there as you saw. I thought I finally had something down here. I love the looks to this. I wasn't sure what it was used for exactly, but there ended up being a huge crack on the back, so I decided to pass on that. I went down to see if I could find any Easter items. They had a few things out. I really liked this little planter here. It was pretty adorable. Finding the Easter planters seems a little bit harder. I find a lot of the Easter Bunny just figures and statues, but I don't see the planters too often. I completely missed this adorable bunny planter off to the side of me because you guys know me and my fruit decor that I love so much. I got so distracted by this. That went right into my cart, and yeah, I'm such a bummer I missed that bunny planter. It's so perfect. I found this really large Dehar tin on the bottom shelf here. I mean, it was a good size, definitely like a serving platter. Had a gorgeous design to it. I feel like it probably was from around the 1970s, just given the way the graphic looked. This is a hand-painted ceramic piece made in a very similar fashion as the left-in pieces, but it had chips on every single like little pointy edge of the leaf, so that was a no-go. I found a couple of these really adorable nautical needlework pictures, perfect size for a little nursery, and I considered getting them for that just to resell, and I ended up seeing a few cracks in the actual frame on the top, so I just decided not to bother with it. And this was a very interesting state souvenir of the Grand Canyon Park. I've never seen a little plaque made up like that before. This is always a fun section to pick because you don't always know what things are right off the bat. You kind of have to look at them and then kind of think a little bit on it and see if you can use it in kind of a creative way because they're not always self-explanatory when you look at them. So usually you can find something that can be a multiple purpose item. This I thought was really adorable. It had a little bit of chipping on it, but it is wooden and could easily be painted to replace where that is chipped. And I don't know, I thought on it for a little bit. I almost walked away from it, and then I ended up setting it in my cart to think about it because I just thought someone would really like that as a little letter holder to put on their desk or something. I just thought it was super cute. I thought this was really gorgeous, of course, with the little raspberries on it. They're all hand painted, and it's a perfect little caddy to store your oils and things like that in your kitchen. And I almost missed the blue-bowed goose. I did end up grabbing that. It was only $1, and you guys know I had to save him, so I did pick him up. I found this vintage caddy of some sort. I believe you would have put your utensils in it in the kitchen. That's what it appeared to be, just based on the size of it. Had some beautiful hand-painted flowers on the outside and a really interesting, like, carved outness around the where it's attached and around the top as well. I'm thinking it was probably handmade by someone local here at some point. Just kind of has an interesting look to it. I don't think it was manufactured. I found the most adorable vintage Easter Bunny graphic I probably have ever seen. He's a little boxer here. Someone unfortunately used him as a cutting board, and you can see all of the knife scratches in him. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to flip that over and use the other side and not the side of the graphic, but they used the wrong side and damaged the image, unfortunately. We had this adorable strawberry birdhouse. The bottom was a little broken on it, but I thought that was pretty cute. I usually have pretty good luck in this metal section. I usually come across one or two things I will pick up. I like to find the tins, you guys know that. I did see a couple of really neat Easter type of tins, and I did have them in my cart for a little bit until I got a chance to open them up, and unfortunately the insides weren't looking as nice as I like. I tend to like to get ones that aren't rusted on the inside. I just prefer that. I know some people don't mind that, but if I'm going to resell them, I would prefer just to have them clean so people can use them for whatever they, whatever need they might have for it and not have to worry about the rust issue on the inside. But this one here had the same issue with they had it taped down and I had to wait until I had both hands free to check it out. And I ended up putting it back. I kind of wish I didn't because this one actually, I really love the graphics on the outside and I probably should have just kept it for myself and put it out in my own decor and not really have to worry about whether I used it, as a purposeful piece and just had it as decor. So cute though. And there's one more, and I definitely should have picked this one up as well. I don't know, for whatever reason I had in my head that day, I didn't want to get anything that had rust on the inside, but I mean, it's really to be expected, and I probably shouldn't have been as picky as I was because, I mean, look at this. So adorable. So, a lot of times when I'm not finding too much in the home decor section, I have a little bit of free time and I do glance at some of the clothing items. So I decided to glance at the hats today. I came across this one here. It is a Cap America made in the USA little beanie. So I like the colors to it. Thought it'd be cute for one of my kiddos. We live in the winter climate, so definitely something handy to have on hand, and I like that it was made in the USA. Another hat I found was this handmade one. So I thought that was really neat. It's kind of one of those slouch beanies, which I thought is really great. It looks like it could have possibly put a little pom-pom on the top or something, but I think I can make it work. I don't too often pick up the sports memorabilia, but I saw these Green Bay Packers shot glasses, and I actually texted my husband because he likes the Packers and asked him if I should pick them up to resell, and he's like, sure, we'll give them a try, and if they don't sell, no big deal, I'll just keep them. So I did end up picking those up. So let's go down and check out the fancy stuff in the handpicked selection. All the items, they have pulled from donations and thought it was worth a little bit more, so they wanted to put it into a more boutique style display. This was pretty trippy. I didn't like that it was slanted. It seemed to be a modern piece anyway, but I didn't get the purpose of why they had made it in that fashion. The double-sided dish was very beautiful. It's not something I feel like I'd really want to ship out just because it had so many nooks and crannies to it. I'd be a little nervous to ship something like that out, especially with that handle. These were Sandra Lee bowls, $15 for the set of 3, which really isn't that bad for 3 bowls, but it's modern. I actually thought this was a really gorgeous dress for prom, perhaps. It had a really interesting look. I like that it was so different since everyone wears the same types of dresses, and I liked how it had a more almost like watercolored look to it. Very cool. I really wanted to get this elephant, but unfortunately the ear was snapped off there. They did have this brass elephant, however. Brass is really big, especially the little figures like this, so at $6 I did snag him up. I thought that seemed to be an okay price. I love this little chicken sign here with the hen on nest. Had a little recipe, very cute. This was adorable as well. The chicken, he had an interesting shape. He almost looked like a pear. So I wasn't quite sure how I felt about that, but it was pretty vibrant. And I adored this little vintage glass. I don't know the characters, if they're from an old cartoon or not, or if they're just supposed to be kind of fun. But $10 for the glass, I was definitely going to pass on that. So when my Goodwill renovated last year and they put in this handpick section, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. It seemed like they were putting a lot of higher prices on things. But I have actually purchased some things out of this section and I don't mind it. They've been a little bit more reasonable on their prices, so yeah, I might pay a couple dollars more for something, but with it being over in this section, it's not handled as much, so it's less likely to get damaged, and it's a little easier to find. You don't really have to sift through things too much. Check this macrame planter out. I have never in my life seen such a large plant hanger. I just thought that this was kind of hilarious and a little bit gaudy. I like some macrame planters, but this thing is just a little too much for me. What do you guys think? Do you like that? I just don't even know where you'd put such a thing. I found a couple of Stephen King books I almost grabbed because they appeared to be vintage. They just had an older look to them. I personally don't enjoy his writing, even though he is from my area. I'm not into that genre, but I did consider picking those up because I know so many people are fans and I do come across a lot of his books and probably have the older stuff in my area here more so than other places. But they're asking $13 for one and 10 for the other, so I just didn't think that it would make too much. Honestly, that seemed a little pricey for me. And of course, I checked out the cookbooks. This one was really interesting because though it did have some recipes in it, it really was more of a book talking about being hospitable in your home, kind of bringing back that family Sunday supper, right? And serving people and gathering together and fellowshipping. So that seemed like an interesting read. I don't know if people are getting back into buying cookbooks or if people are just keeping their cookbooks more these days because I used to find them all the time. Every time I go to their store, there would be plenty to sift through. And as you can see, the shelves are kind of bare today. I did end up picking up this one here, the gluten-free Bible. I do try my best to eat gluten-free. It does, kind of affect me. So I always appreciate finding some good recipes. It's difficult, if you guys ever cook gluten-free, it's difficult to find tasty recipes using healthier ingredients and stuff. I'll have to put some weird things in to make up for the lack of gluten. So since it's always challenging, I always appreciate finding those kind of cookbooks. I was excited to find this one because I love making casseroles. They're one of those really easy meals to make and it feeds your family for usually a couple days, but there was no pictures inside and I don't know, unless it's a vintage cookbook, I tend to want to have pictures inside of my cookbook. I don't know. It might be weird. Let me know down below if you guys prefer the pictures inside the books as well. I thought about picking up this Barefoot Contessa cookbook. I always enjoyed watching her show, but I know she makes pretty fancy food, and I just don't know if that is something I really want to delve into, so I just decided to pass on that. I did find this Small Gardens book here. It has various landscaping ideas, so I always find that helpful. I do enjoy gardening and landscaping, so it is nice to know the different types of plants out there. So now I'm going to share with you everything I ended up purchasing today. Thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye!